Okay, boys.
SummerSlam 2022 is in the books, and we are going to break it down, and we're going to find out what the heck happened down there. Wow, what a tournament. All that and a bunch more on this edition of Tackle Shop Live.
A sunny day, right there you took my breath away. A young and pretty, was it just a dream?
What's up, Chuck Ray?
Next day you called me
Robert
up.
Donahue, how you doing, buddy?
Buttercup.
George Ashbridge, how are you? Larry Schultz, David Schottlemeyer, Joseph Cascarino. What's up, guys? Keith Howard, as always, Keith Howard. Byron Heisey, Kevin Carpenter, how you doing? Andy Garrett, Gregory Hall, how are you? Oh, Andrea Zini, how you doing? Good to see you. Ben the Buck Hunter's here. Duke Nave, what's up? Man, we got a great batch of people chiming in here. Man, we got a great show for you tonight. Appreciate everybody stopping by. Tammy Greenman, how are you? Yeah, you're right, Gregory. The Bay showed up in a big, giant way, and that's what we're going to talk about today on Tackle Shop Live. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. We had a fantastic tournament this past weekend for SummerSlam 2022. My name is Mike Acord. This is George Acord. On the end and back in the house is CG, the man Gottwalt.
I'm back.
And
Bobby's back.
And behind the camera, as always, is cameraman Nick.
How's it going, everybody?
How you doing, Nick?
I'm doing good.
Good, buddy. Greg
Doing good, Nick?
Greg Plank's in the house. Connor McLaughlin's in the house. Jack Hinkle's in the house. Mike Barr, how are you, buddy?
Everybody's in the house.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, we
David
got
Shawn just checked in.
Yeah, we got a huge show for you tonight. And as I said, we just come off of SummerSlam 2022 is now in the books, we can say. And boy, oh boy, oh boy, was it ever a tournament. The Fish, the Bay absolutely came on fire, and we were there to take part in it. When you guys hear these stats, you're going to go crazy, and we're going to bust the whole entire tournament down for you. But first, we have with us tonight, we have the champions of SummerSlam 2022 standing by here. I'm going to bring them in right now. First one here, the winning team of Mike Sentor, and we also have Shawn, McKee. How you guys doing?
What's going on, guys?
Very good.
We just told everybody about the champions are in the house of SummerSlam 2020. I don't know if you guys know this, but this is bigger than any tournament in the world. It's a I mean, you guys got to realize that you won the biggest tournament in the entire world.
For our area.
Right next to the Bassmasters Classic.
Right next to the Bassmasters Classic. That may be a little bit bigger, but just a skosh.
I'm just saying.
But congratulations, Mike Sentor and Shawn. You guys, you guys are no strangers to this whole winning thing. I mean, this is what you guys do. I mean, you guys come out here, you catch fish, and you win.
We put a lot of time and effort in over the years to make that happen.
I know. And we're going to get into some of that stuff about, why you guys are so consistent. But what a bag, huh? 24-11. Did you ever weigh a bigger bag in a tournament on the
Yes.
bag? Oh, you
Yes.
have?
I 3 times I've weighed in over 25 pounds.
Good gosh.
Wow.
Man, oh, man.
Over 24 pounds, probably 8 to 10 times.
Jeez, he's a hammer. He's a hammer.
Wow. That's what I'm talking about.
What a giant hammer.
Go get them, guys.
Well, I'll tell you right now, I just think it was an unbelievable feat for this field of anglers. And we had all the hammers down there, too. I mean, we had we had you guys and Venor and Wilder and you just, you know, JT was there. Those guys were all high sticks. There was a lot of really good hammers down there, and they all showed up and they came in with big bags, but it wasn't enough now, was it, Mike?
Not this time.
So, Shawn, were you a net man, or are you swinging some fish in the boat?
We both contributed today. There have been plenty of Sunday. There have been plenty of times where I have just been a net man for Mike, but I'm happy to say I contributed. Now, I don't know if all of my fish made the final 5 because it was kind of tough to tell after a while, but I know he got the 3 big ones that we weighed, and all the 5s were his for sure.
You know what, Shawn? I feel you, because last year Mike and I fished some tournaments together, and we weighed in our limit every time we fished, and I think we weighed in like about 3 of my fish all year. I mean, I got very good. I had a nice culling system set up. I was culling and netting all day long, and I'm like, you know what? I'll take half that check at the end of the day. Thank you.
That's the thing. You should see Mike's culling system if I'm not in the boat. It's literally like
it's horrible. It's
horrible. You know what, Sentor? I'm the same way. I'm the worst culling guy in the entire world. I get so confused. I start throwing profanity out there. I have no idea what I'm doing.
Well, that's because you're not used to doing it.
Yeah, you're probably right.
I'm not a big fan of putting, the clips on the fish's, mouth. There's a couple of times where I did that, and it seemed like they would go belly up, or especially with smallmouth, and I get a little uncomfortable clipping anything on there. So I usually figure I'll just catch 5 and then I'll worry about it later. And,
right.
Not to take off subject, but maybe 2 years ago, I was up on Champlain, and I knew I had to use the tags and use the culling system. I ended up coming in the BFL with 6 fish in the live well, and I had no idea how it happened. I had to DQ myself, the whole deal.
Ouch.
So trying to use the whole. My co-anglers in the team tournaments are an absolute key to the fish care and culling and all that stuff. They've got systems, and whenever I'm by myself, I screw it up.
Well, guys, it's kind of an interesting topic because, I watch a ton of live tournament fishing and follow tournament fishing and, participate in tournament fishing, but it seems like everybody is on the memory-based scales, like the Rapala culling scale.
Yeah.
That's I mean, we literally can never keep them in stock. We sell ridiculous amounts of them. Now, me personally,
because they keep breaking.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, right.
I know. You're right. Water and electronics. But for me personally, I think the balance beam is the greatest method of culling that there is.
That's what I use.
I could be wrong.
I don't understand the balance beam thing. I just can't figure it out.
Newton figured out this thing, right? It's physics.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, but then so you put your fish on there, and then you look in there, and that looks like the smallest one. You put it on there, and it bounces out, and then you throw that fish away. Well, now you got to start all over. You don't know. You catch another one. You got close fish in there. How do you know that's the smallest one? What do you got to go through all the fish all the time? You got to keep going through that. I don't know.
I'll usually just tag the smallest one.
Yeah,
for quick reference.
I know, but
my system
just doesn't work.
My system is, if I catch let's say my first fish is a small fish, I'll put a tag on that. And if my second fish is close to or smaller than that, I'll tag that. Now I know, my 2 smallest fish. So, if things work out where they're not all cookie cutters, you kind of have your first 2 culls.
Big thing is starting right away. When you catch your first fish, and I should have a computer system out there, like a barcode reader, bleep, you know, you know what I'm saying? And then I know exactly what's going to put a barcode on their lip.
Yeah. Well, I just think
I'm
it's interesting. Everyone's using the scales. I think the balance beam is the way to go.
I do too. I mean, I have a big side of my live well and a small side of the live well. And that's usually what I, for team tournaments, that's what I do.
Yeah, but if you fish with Mike Sentor, he catches all big ones.
Well, I mean, there's that too.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He has 3 live wells.
Yeah.
I have to make him stop fishing sometimes because I'll be calling and I'll catch another one. I'll be like, hold on.
Yeah. I know the feeling, bro. The last tournament that me and this one fished last year, he literally boat flipped his final fish into the live well as I was calling.
Yeah.
I don't think it was to be funny. I mean, there was literally, they were coming in so fast,
Right.
and I was transferring from live well to live well and balancing and it literally put it in the live well. I didn't find it
Amusing.
at the time. But yeah, I know what you mean, man. I know what you mean.
So let's talk about this tournament. Enough of this calling stuff. What, there's, I don't know. Me and Nick went out driving around and we saw like this big, giant, massive armada of boats in an area at the bay on Sunday. There was 50. We counted 54 boats fishing one area, and I can tell you, out of those 54 boats, probably 6 or 8, maybe even higher than that, came from that area. Of the top 15.
Oh yeah.
There was a bunch of 20-pound bags. I know Corbin spent some time there. There was a bunch of 20-pound bags that came from that area back there. So I'm not saying that's where you guys were, but what is it? What's the difference down there to catch those big fish? We all can go down there and catch 15 pounds, 16 pounds, 17 pounds, but what does it really take? And I mean, what do you find out about down there to catch those big fish? Either one of you.
So
This is all classified.
yeah. So one thing I'll say is, right, there's a bunch of states where it's like New Jersey, Maryland, PA, New York, whoever. They all have these, closed seasons, right, where you can't keep the bass in the live well. So, but like the Potomac River and the Upper Bay, like they allow you to keep 15 inches and above. So many of these tournaments, they come to the Upper Bay. And so for like April, May, and June, there's an unbelievable number of anglers that are down all day, all week, every day. And then Saturdays and Sundays, you can have 250 anglers on the water that launched from 5 different ramps. So I would say that, if they were Wednesday tournaments, right, lots of guys to catch, you have 30 boats, maybe all coming in with big bags, but the amount of pressure on the fish makes it difficult to, catch those 25-pound bags. So I think one of the things for myself anyways is, if you get a day during the week to go out and rotate through, those community areas, you can kind of see which ones are getting the most pressure. If you can kind of, keep a pulse on that. Because, like I popped out this afternoon for a couple of hours and, rotated through a couple of those spots that are community areas, Furnace Bay, 25 boats today, back channel grass bed, 30 boats today, Swan, 20 boats today, every marina you pass through. I mean, and there's no tournament today. It's a Thursday.
It's Thursday. Yeah.
And so for me, the biggest key is sort of knowing where you can get those quality bites, but also maybe knowing what got the least amount of pressure during the week.
Right. Well, that's just it. I didn't realize there was that many boats down there during the week. Holy mackerel. That's
It's like COVID.
That's crazy.
Anchor Ramp is doing well.
Straight cash money.
$20 a launch.
Straight cash money,
Yeah.
Cash is king, baby.
Shawn, do you feel like, your tackle setup, with whatever you throw, line wise, rod wise, this kind of, you think that is a key for you catching fish down there?
I do. I learn. Obviously, I've fished with Mike my whole life, so I've learned most of what I do down there from him. So I change things up once in a while. Like on the weekend, I know he was flipping with, I think, 20 pound, and I definitely didn't have 20 pound. I was flipping with 15, and I didn't get more bites. There were times when we would hit a stretch and I got more bites, and a different stretch he would hit more. I don't know if it had anything to do with it, but I do feel like there's definitely I'm kind of partial to lighter line, like just as a co-angler. That's kind of what I've learned. So I'm drop shotting with 8 pound line usually, and I'm comfortable with high seas around docks and everything. I feel like it's real strong,
Killer.
So, yep. Even if it gets wrapped around the piling, a lot of times I can get it out. So I have my beliefs. Yeah. And Mike, I'm going to ask you this, and you don't have to get specific, but is it a bait size thing that you think that is critical down there, or color? Is color really critical down there? I know there's guys who are just tackle freaking junkies, that really believe in those things. Is that something that's really critical for you?
So I'm going to say not so critical as far as the bait choices go, because I mean, look, June bug, green pumpkin red, watermelon red, black and blue, California 420. I mean, all these colors I've had great success with on any given day. So I don't really feel like that's, a major key. Now, different times of the year, I'll say maybe more of a key. Let's just say, for instance, there's a lot of yellow perch down here, and the bass will key in on yellow perch. And if it's that time of the year where they're migrating around with the yellow perch, your green pumpkin orange and green pumpkin orange chartreuse, some of those colors will really shine.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're on the white perch and shad, it's more of a white thing. But I'll say for, April, May, June, besides that chatterbait bite that is super awesome down here, and a swim jig bite and some of that kind of stuff. When they're nesting, if you will, for me, anything that resembles something that would raid a bass's nest is really what is the key. So it could be a 6-inch black lizard. It could be a 6-inch, brown chartreuse tail lizard. But either way, if you throw it into a bass's bed, he doesn't want it in there.
Yeah.
So, the beaver style baits, some of the different jigs, but a lot of your soft plastics this time of year, you can get through the grass and, maybe alongside a lay down or next to a piling. But if it looks like it might be going around their nest, then it's 4-pounder set the hook.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've always seen a lot of success this time of the year also on the brush hog style baits, the different companies make.
Absolutely.
Seems like a really good one during that spawn. And the other thing I noticed about places like the Chesapeake Bay and the Potomac, because, we're talking about this particular tournament in our area, it's almost like the largemouth on these big grass flats. It's almost like they colonize like bluegills do. You ever see bluegills like come in on these giant colonies of bluegills? It's almost like you talk about these massive areas with all these boats congested in there and everybody's catching fish for 2 weeks. It's like they colonize these areas. Whereas in a creek or something where you don't have those big vegetation flats, you get a spawner on this piece of wood, a spawner on that dock piling, so on and so forth. I think that's kind of interesting too.
I would say that it's because of the grass for this time of year.
Absolutely.
Yeah. If you can find the milfoil and those nice clumps of milfoil, they'll get right down in the holes of it and spawn.
Yeah.
So that's every year it grows in different places. maybe a mile that way or a mile this way, or maybe the Conowingo was open all spring and dumping cold water across the flat, so they migrate to the bays or maybe back channel or whatever. But when that tide goes low and you get on your trolling motor and you go out and scout and you find those, a football field of milfoil that's laid over in patches, get the flipping stick out. That's
home run.
Yep, that's where they are.
I think George is right too, just because Mike and I were out a couple of weeks ago and we were just scouting on the flat and we found an area, got a couple of bites, but there wasn't really any grass clumps, but we started like just smoking 3 and 4 pounders. They just were grouped in there for some reason. I don't know, were they just moving? Was it at the right time where they grouped up and moved in there? I don't know what was keeping them there. It wasn't a spot that he really fishes a lot.
The other thing about that spawn process that blows my mind, and I mean, all my life fishing, it's like the timing of it. I mean, from the time when the female bass moves into the spawning area to when this whole spawn process is over is just it's so fast. I mean, you literally have to have what happened last weekend occur. Everything has to line up right.
Oh yeah.
For that small window to open.
Yeah, including the weather.
Well, let me tell you something. This past Sunday, something lined up because holy hell, everybody caught him. I mean, Corbin caught 21 pounds for God's sakes.
I know.
Rough crowd, Corbin.
I know. Out of a jet boat, man.
Hey guys,
I never saw a boat catch a fish yet.
Hey, Mike and Shawn, congratulations. You guys, when I seen your boat there, which is a story in itself, Mike, I think it's a pretty awesome story. But, you see your boat there, and you guys are always, known to do well, which is a feat in itself. And congratulations. My question for you would be, how did your boat situation affect you first thing in the morning? I mean, because you just proven that it doesn't matter what kind of boat you use, right?
So, quick backstory for the guys that don't know. I bought a brand new Skeeter last summer from Town Marine, and I went up and fished a 2-day on the St. Lawrence River, a BFL. On the way home, got rear-ended by a tractor trailer, lost the truck and boat. So
you also finished 5th at the BFL too.
Nice.
My first time to the St. Lawrence River. And placed pretty well there.
Let's not leave that out of there.
Smallmouth or largemouth?
First day I had 19 and change on smallmouth. The second day I had 19 and change on largemouth.
I knew it.
I knew it.
I knew it. Everybody I know goes up there to smallmouth fish, and you bring in friggin' 19 pounds of largemouth. It's in your blood, bro.
It is. So, but so the long and short of it is, insurance got everything all paid off, and I got caught up with everything. And about November, I was all square with the monies, and I decided, well, instead of running out and buying a brand new, $80,000 to $100,000 rig, I found a 17.5-foot boat that was in nice shape, and paid $7,000 for it. Transferred electronics over, and I've got myself a 45-mile-an-hour rig that floats and catches fish.
I love it.
That's right.
And
Awesome.
no boat payment right now, which with the $5 a gallon of gas is kind of nice.
Love it.
Doesn't mean I won't get another big boat, but yeah. So Nick, this year I've been fishing so far out of the pro craft there, and the first Bass Legends event, my buddy Keith Gallen and we fished together, and we won that event. And a couple events later here to SFT, Shawn and I fished out of it, and we got another win this year. So
it's a lucky boat, bro.
You better keep that.
Yeah, I'm going to have to hold on to it. But so fortunately, the first spot I had in my mind planned to fish, I think, Shawn, we were boat 54, I think, in this derby.
Yeah, exactly.
We had an area we wanted to fish. We knew that there was going to be some pressure around, and the other thing is we had so much fog Sunday morning when we got out to the the flats area I actually slowed down. I was going about 35, and
Right.
I was afraid to go any faster.
I know.
Sure.
I know.
And so when we ended up to our first spot, we there was nobody around.
Wow.
And
It didn't hurt us in the least bit in that first morning. Like we got past a couple of times, but once he hit the fog, everyone had to slow down.
Yeah.
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 yeah, so that part of it didn't matter in this tournament.
Yeah.
You know, but we did have to allow ourselves a few extra minutes to get back on time. You
We
know,
passed a couple boats on the way in.
Yeah, right.
And we did. There was a couple of 60 and 90 horsers out there, and I'll tell you,
He was so proud. He would counting them down. He'd look over and be like, "There's another one. Here's number 3."
Hey
felt
guys,
like
quick,
$1 million.
Yeah.
quick question to piggyback off that. You said, your first spot you had all by yourself. Did you
Yep.
have success right away, or did you have to grind it out?
I think by 8 o'clock we had 19, 20 pounds.
Yes.
Wow.
So the way that it worked was, Mike had this spot that he wanted to fish for a previous tournament, the Thayer's tournament that got canceled, and so we went there, and the area that he wanted to fish, we started fishing, and we didn't get bit for maybe a half hour, and he's starting to think, oh man, maybe they're not here, maybe they moved. Let's just keep going a little further. And we got a little bit further into the stretch, and then we started getting bit. So they relocated. Maybe some of them moved, or maybe I think we fished further in than he did before. Maybe those fish were always there, but something changed. But he knew, like, I just think I should keep going. And I don't second guess Mike. If he has a hunch, then I just follow.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I wouldn't either. But the funny thing about this boat thing is Shawn has you have a kick-ass boat, don't you, Shawn?
Well, yeah, I've got a 20-foot Ranger. I had some good luck in an open, not Toyota series, a Costa, and I won a certificate for a 17-foot Ranger.
Oh, nice.
And I was gonna cash it out, and then my wife said, you've been talking about getting a boat for years. Just get a boat. I said, all right, I'll just use it as a down payment. So it was, I think, valued at $28,000. So that was my down payment on a 20-foot Ranger.
Nice.
So yes, I have it. I actually practiced out of it on Saturday. Mike and I divided and conquered, and we hit different areas. And at the end of the day, he said, well, I'll go grab my stuff and I will jump in your boat. And I looked at him. I'm like, I'm the co-angler. It's going to take me 2 minutes to get my stuff ready. I'm like, you've got everything set up the way you want it. It's not going to hurt us. Why don't we just fish out of your boat? He just kind of smiled. He's like, oh, it's kind of cool. I'd love to win out of this thing. I said, all right, let's do it.
I'd love to win out of this.
That's cool. That's real cool.
I thought maybe Mike was just, because I think I've known Mike for, I don't know, 10 years or something. And I think you've had 10 different boats.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of boats
that I know. So as soon as people figure out who it is and what kind of boat he's running, he goes and buys a new boat.
He likes to fly under the radar for a little
Yeah,
while.
exactly.
Yeah. I love it.
He calls that boat incognito, right?
I love it, man. I love it. Stealth mode for days.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? You can take something for everybody watching this and listening right now. There was something that Shawn said there, I think, major key. They went out the day before and they were searching.
Yeah.
And that's a big deal. I can tell just by knowing Mike and Shawn and those guys, time on the water is key, right, guys?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So Mike obviously has so much time on the water there, but he's got in the last few years a little bit less time on the water. So I don't know if that's hurt him or not, but when he's got so much history there, I don't really think it matters. But there are so many guys that are starting to make a lot of, not starting to, like, I mean, look at Connor Cahill. He spends so much time on the water there. He's winning just about everything he fishes down there. A lot of guys that, like you said, time on the water, those guys are the ones that are starting to really shine.
Yeah.
And it pays off.
There's no doubt about that. And Mike, where are you at right now, Mike?
I am looking at the Northeast River from Charlestown Manor Beach and Campground.
So my point there is, and it's well stated there from Shawn and everybody, but is, these guys that do well down there consistently, because we're always, you always hear guys, I don't want to go down there and fish and donate to these guys. They're the hammers, and and the reason they are is exactly that. Time on the water. There's no substitute to time on the water. And there you have it. Mike is so dedicated to that body of water down there that he's got a camper set up down there. He goes down, spends a couple days. He can pop in and out whenever he wants. He can get time on the water. It's easy for him. He can leave from there and go to work. So he's dedicated himself to that type of fishing, and what there's no better place to do that. There's lots of tournaments. You can win lots of money down there over a year period of time. And plus there's a lot of competition. And Mike, it's not so much the money for him, but it's the competition. He's a fierce freaking competitor. Is that more it for you, Mike?
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, I think we all realize that most of, our costs, right? If you buy a new boat, if you buy a truck to haul it with, if you fish 2-3 times a week and you're putting gas in your tank, if you're, spending every third paycheck at SFT to get all the right baits.
That's right.
At the end of the year, so I've been, separating essentially my taxes every year for the last 10 years, because, when you get 1099 from BASS or MLF or whomever, right, the state wants their taxes. Well, So I started keeping track a while back, and what I realized is in a normal year for me, I will spend $20,000 to $30,000 in fuel, tolls, lures, entry fees, lodging, ramp fees, and that's not including a truck and boat payment. So on the business side of things, when you look at this, you think, well, how much money can you win? Man, most of these tournaments that come to the Bay, look, $5,000-$6,000, that's a big win.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So even if you've won, 6 or 7 of the local club derbies, and you've won maybe one BFL, and this, even if you win $15,000,
yeah, you're still in the hole.
If you're doing it the way that a lot of us in these 21-foot rigs are doing it, it's really difficult to get ahead. So, financially. So that's just it. This is not something that we do to make money. A lot of young guys and a few girls will have come to me over the years and said, hey, I want to be like a semi-pro or a pro fisherman or this or that, and college age, or high school age kids. And I always say, focus on earning a living first. Yeah. Figure out how to earn enough money to allow you to go fishing and pay for the fishing, because so many people that want to do it the opposite way around are finding there are so many good fishermen. The top 1 or 2 spots get paid. As trickle down effect, if you get a 4th place in every tournament, you're going to be in the hole.
Yeah.
So in a roundabout way, for me, yes, I was a very competitive wrestler in high school. I was a competitive football player. And so once you get through high school and college and that kind of thing, you're still looking for something to do, to compete, to stay active, to do something you love, but to compete. And, hey, look at Rick Clunn, right? You can be in your 70s or maybe even close to 80s, and you can still compete in the sport. So,
absolutely.
We don't do it for the financial side of things. We do it for, I guess, a little bit of bragging rights, but for the most part, because we love the sport.
Yeah, the competition.
We love the competition.
The competition, absolutely.
Yeah, but it's nice to know where you stand as far as in your own mind with your finances, and I think you summed it up, well, for anyone who has tournament fished for any length of time seriously, which basically I always called an obsessive hobby. You know, when you crunch the numbers, especially at tax time, which tends to force people to do that, that's the reality that you're looking at. Now,
Yeah.
here's some very successful tournament anglers
Yeah.
on our screen, winning boats, winning everything that's out there, and speaking the realities of, you know, don't lessen your passion for this game at all, but be realistic
Realistic.
when
Yeah.
you're, as Mike said, find a way to make a living first.
Yep.
That will support your fishing. Don't plan on your fishing to support your living. And then you will enjoy yourself way into your
Yeah.
later years pursuing this sport. That's when it's fun. It's not fun when you're not sure how you're going to pay for everything.
Yeah.
That's when it becomes not fun. And anybody who's fished tournaments for any length of time, like these fellas have, can tell you they know a lot of people that don't fish anymore.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Right?
yeah.
Yep.
So you guys weighed in 24 pounds, 11 ounces. Your big fish was a 542. And I know you had multiple five pounders in your bag there. Yeah, but the statistics of this tournament are crazy. How many? I mean, guys were coming up and weighing lunkers like 5 pound, 5.5s, 5.6s, 5.8s. You know, there was several 6 pounders weighed in for lunker, and they were. It was just like it was like nothing. After a while, after 15 or so, I just stopped. Like I'm like I couldn't even get excited about him. And it was so. What do you think the health of the bay is at this point?
Well, there's two things that I will say right now that are different than when we got started in this, right? Even just maybe 8 or 10 years ago. One is snakeheads are everywhere.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, if you go into a marina right now and it's sunny out, you'll see what looks like a big log floating up under a dock, and it's, you know, a 10 or 15 pound snakehead. So that's one thing. The other thing is the blue cats. You know, on the Potomac River, the blue cats have really, you know, taken a stronghold, and now they're on the upper Chesapeake Bay. You know, this past summer, I was fishing down a grass edge, you know, looking for bass, throwing a spinnerbait, and I ended up catching 3 or 4 blue cats that were in that 20 to 30 pound range that absolutely annihilated my spinnerbait, not usable again. And what I'm and I ended up talking to some of the commercial fishermen that are pulling their boats at the ramps the same time as me, and they're telling me that these blue cats, they're bringing them into their boats and they're regurgitating 12, 15-inch largemouth bass. They're regurgitating up to 18, 20-inch snakeheads. So while I think there's plenty of forage out there as far as, you know, the white perch and the yellow perch and the sunfish and bluegills and the crappie and, right, the herring, adolescent striper. I mean, the bay is extremely, extremely healthy. But I will say that in the last maybe 10 years or so, there are 2 new predators for the largemouth bass that I don't believe were here before.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
and the other thing I will say is if you go back 5, 6, 7 years ago, I can remember fishing a tournament. I think I had 21 or 22 pounds, and I got beat by somebody who weighed in 29 pounds. They had 5, 6 pounders in their bag.
Good
and
God.
It was a lot easier 5, 6 years ago to catch 5 and 6 pound class fish. I mean, while we saw a lot of them on Sunday, I mean, it was better, you know, a number of years ago for a stretch there. So I think we are a little bit on the downside of what I've seen, the height, the potential of this place. But there are still a lot of good bags coming in.
Yeah. Yeah. What's your favorite tide?
I'm going to say high tide. And I only say that, which is the exact opposite of what most people will probably say. And it's because it is a very shallow fishery, right? So when there's low water, it does congest the fish, like on typical tidal fisheries, generally making it easier to catch them. But here, because it's already such a shallow fishery, what happens is it pulls all the water off the docks, it pulls all the water off the laydowns, and in a lot of instances, the fish don't have a secondary piece of structure to hang on where you can go and pick them off real easy. So for me, a lot of the days that I have better tournaments is when the water's up, because that structure that you may want to run, the docks and the laydown trees, and maybe that rock pile, when it has water on it, the fish will move right up on
it. That's interesting, because you're right. I think a lot of people would say,
yeah,
the last 2 hours of outgoing tide or something like that.
Yeah, but
what do you like, Shawn?
I'd be willing to bet if we hooked the old lie detector up to him, he would say he loves high tide
and he loves low tide,
but he really likes high tide when it turns to go out.
Oh, sure. I don't like a slack high. I don't like a slack anything, but
that turn is all.
Yeah, when you get a high tide and it slacks off, it's a dead zone. But as soon as that water starts to move, boy, it could be like that's Crush City for the first 20, 30 minutes.
Shawn, what's your status on the tide? What's your pick?
We like our structure. Being from South Jersey, everything's shallow. I don't think I ever really fished grass until I started fishing the bay. In Newton Creek, my home, a couple blocks away from me, that didn't have grass when we were growing up, so I didn't know how to fish grass. So I like structure. I like docks. So anything that gives me a target, something to pitch to, is what I'm comfortable with. I love catching them in the grass when the water's right. I don't necessarily have a favorite tide yet. I'm still learning what's good on the front of the boat. I kind of, I've been fishing in the back, following what people do for the last however many years. So I don't have a favorite yet. I'm still like open to anything. Because you fish a tournament, you can't fish your favorite tide. You're gonna have to fish what's there. So if you don't like it, it doesn't matter. You still have to figure it out.
Well, one of the interesting things that we've talked about here on Tackle Shop Live, when the topic of tidal water comes up, which, if you ask me, should be 26 shows a year. The other 26 being smallmouth fishing on the upper Susquehanna River. But besides that, I digress. Right. We've talked about if you can spend several days. Let's say you're either fun fishing or you're fishing a tournament. Pick a month; it doesn't matter. But you have the luxury of spending several days to pre-fish for a multi-day tournament. So let's just say 3 days of pre-fish, 2 days of tournament, 5 days on the water. We've often talked about what we've noticed over the years is like little miniature trends on the tide. Like you might find that you start catching your fish on the last of incoming or the middle of outgoing or whatever it is. But whatever it is, it seems to hold true for several days. And then with that tide changing, 45 minutes to an hour a day, roughly, combined with inevitably the next weather pattern, that we've called them mini trends in the tide, changes. And then you have to figure it out again. That's for your best, like, peak bite time. That's something that we've talked about here that we've noticed over the years. Don't know if you guys would agree with that or not, but it's kind of popped into my head on this tide topic.
So for me, I don't want to give too much of my what I like to do, but so on low tide or a mid tide going out to low tide, like that for me. Let's just say, for instance, with the Chesapeake, that might be a time where I want to fish the grass. When I can see the clumps of grass and make my casts to it, I prefer an outgoing tide. If you've ever looked at a tide chart, in most cases, and I'm a Delaware River fisherman, and we get like a 6 to 7 foot tide swing, and oftentimes you'll notice the tide comes in really, really, really fast, and then it hovers up at that high tide for a while, and then it goes out really slow. Yeah. So, if you take a look at those tide charts, the ones that show you the up and downs, the incoming tide comes in faster. The outgoing tide generally goes out slower.
That's weird.
Yeah. So, like, let's just say I'm out fishing the grass flats. After that little bit of tide swing coming in, sometimes it comes in so fast, it lays the grass down so hard. I mean, that water is moving. It's hard to get bit. So for me, I may go find an area where the water doesn't have that opportunity to come in so fast. Maybe it's just going to rise or fall. But on an outgoing tide, a mid tide, maybe where you can see the grass patches and it's going out nice and slow, you can flip your way through or chatterbait the edges, that kind of stuff. Then I'll like that lower outgoing. But yeah, if you look at that tide chart, like I said, the incoming tide, it sort of puts me in different places. I've been like on the Delaware River, like in a clear creek, and that water starts coming in, and it'll be moving 2 to 3 miles an hour, and you can barely fight it on your trolling motor. But what happens is you can watch bass; they'll just take the tide. You're floating at 2 miles an hour, and so are they. Like, I've watched them with my eyes. We go a mile up the creek together, and they never stop to eat anywhere. They just rode the tide. So that incoming tide, like I said, for me is much more of a challenge in those situations.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well,
that's very interesting. You're referring to that big Delaware tide, but you get that rip on the Chesapeake Bay as well. And one thing I've noticed is if you look at the surrounding shoreline, those areas that have like where the water has to make like a turn, where the shoreline kind of forces the water to turn, that water follows that shoreline around. And some areas where the water's coming in this direction, the water coming off this hard bank, it's actually going in the opposite direction. And you can get kind of like that confused flow in there where certain grass is laid over one direction and grass not too far from it's laid over in the other direction. And that ripping tide can really spark those areas up. It's kind of like a confused area.
The eddy current type places.
Yeah, the back eddy, I guess you would call it.
Yeah. Sure. Well, yeah, when you're talking about like shoreline structure and all, you're right. That the incoming or outgoing in those situations are both going to be great.
Especially on that hard rip.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, for sure.
So we had, here's a stat for you. We had 20 bags over 19 pounds or better, 19 or better. We had 11 of those bags were over 20 pounds.
Sounds like the elite tournament on Lake Fork.
Yeah. So, I mean, and the fish that we caught or that everybody caught and all the shorts that were caught, and thrown back, when I asked you that question about the health of the bay, I think it's healthy to a point, that there's these other things coming and these other things are going to be definitely hurting it. But as of right now, I think it's pretty healthy. But the pressure's what I was kind of looking at, how it's changed everything down there, and it makes it fish really tough for a lot of people. So
I would agree with you. It is there's a lot more anglers on the water than in the last 3-4 years. It seems like it's doubled or tripled.
well, COVID messed everything all up.
Well,
Just screwed it all
and
up.
results like this aren't going to
definitely-
change that.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'll throw a stat at you guys. 48 boats caught over 15 pounds. That is pretty amazing.
I remember the day when 15 pounds would win a tournament down there, like all the time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That was a long time
And
ago.
Yeah, I know, but the transition when that changed from like, okay, it takes 15, 16, every now and then you hear it 18, but it was 15, 16. And then all of a sudden there was 20-pound bags. It was like aliens came and dumped like all kinds of big giant bass up there. That was amazing, that transformation.
Oh, that's how it went down too.
It did. It was just like one,
I mean-
the grass started growing on the flats and it was instantaneous giant fish everywhere. GDP's checking in. He's saying it's the best fishery in the country. And I mean, I don't know, GDP. They're whacking them down there where you're at. Crazy.
My God.
And Greg had a great day today with 23.5.
He's sitting pretty right now.
Yep.
19th place, 23.5.
Yep. And we're so happy for you, Greg. Great showing down there. You got 2 more days to really whack on them. Put those get that dirty 30. I know you're after.
Yes.
Get that camera in the boat.
Yeah.
Plus, I got somebody a buddy of mine that lives down there, Greg, and he's going to let all the air out of Cliff Prince and Lee Livesey's trailer tires tonight. So they're going to be late for blast off. I'm just saying.
Well, I don't know. It was a great event. It was an absolutely great event. Shawn, tell me something. I hear you got a song for us. For all of our listeners, we got a couple thousand that are listening right now.
Okay.
And I was wondering if you got something for us.
I've got something for you. I did send
jam out.
Yeah. Let me see. All right, good. Nick got it. Just because I don't know if the lyrics are gonna come across real well with the crappy microphone system I've got here, but we'll give it a try.
Yeah, you sound good. You sound. I was going to say, I know you have microphone, some kind of great microphone, because you sound better than anybody. So
No, this is just a laptop.
Oh, it's just a laptop.
Yep.
Probably got some kind of crazy speaker in it or something, because I'm working on that.
All right, let's see. Let me tell me how this sounds volume wise.
Oh yeah,
You good?
perfect.
Yeah, it's pretty clear.
All right, cool. Let's do
So
it.
here we go. Let me set this up. Shawn was so happy, right? You won a tournament. He went home and wrote a song. Is that what you did?
It was the I don't know, inspiration struck me. I wrote something yesterday, just the music part, and then today I started putting words together like I could make a song about the tournament. And
Right on.
Yeah.
what the heck?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Shawn McKee with a awesome SummerSlam tournament
All right.
song.
Upper Bay, the spawn is right. Looking for the 5-pound bite. Chatterbait and Texas rigs. Know the baits that get the bigs. Hold on, here comes that bite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hold on, here comes that bite.
Get him, G.
John Bernard just caught a 6. Richard's got the spotlight fixed. Just behind, we need a call. Tiny boat will take it all. Hold on, here comes that bite. Say, hold on, here comes that bite.
Nice.
Great job, Shawn.
Yeah, way to go, Shawn.
Outstanding.
Oh, there's the words and everything. All right.
Backwards. It might be backwards.
Oh man.
Sentor, where were you on backup vocals there?
I would have had to be net bitch on that one.
Man, thank you so much, Shawn. That is freaking awesome, brother.
That's a great
Nice.
way to wrap up this segment.
Yeah,
I mean, that was
absolutely.
fantastic. Oh, by the way, and I'm not sure who Mike's partner was the first time. It might have been Shawn. If it is, my bad.
No.
This is Mike's second win on
Yeah.
SummerSlam.
Yeah, we were talking, and Mike
Second
said,
win.
yeah, Mike was saying earlier when we were doing sound check,
SummerSlam's been around for how long?
I think it was 17
18
years. Yeah,
Used
yeah.
to be called Fall Bash.
The
but,
Fall
you know,
Bash, yeah.
That's a technicality.
And I apologize to everybody, because we didn't change the name this year because we didn't know what we're gonna do. But sounds like next year we're gonna shoot for the same time period. So we might have a third name change and call it the Spring Fling or the Spring.
I don't know.
The
It's
Shimano
SummerSlam.
Slam.
The Shimano
It's
Spring Flam.
SummerSlam. It's SummerSlam.
I
What
don't know.
prompted the
Market.
change this year?
What's that?
What prompted the change this year?
That's
Just
a good
to-
question.
Well,
Move
the
it
thing
early.
about that was when we were trying to plan a tournament, the guys that have the marina down there, they kind of dictate what goes on. And for a large tournament with tournaments over 100 boats, they pretty much tell you, here's the deal. Here's the 2 dates you guys can have.
Okay.
You got to pick one of these dates. And the other date that they gave us, which was in more towards the end of June, there was all kinds of crazy conflicts with other big tournaments, and where participation would probably suffer because of it. And this one was the better choice. You know what I'm saying? So that's the only reason why it was earlier. Is because what we were given.
Yeah, a lot of it was, as Mike said, a lot of it was logistics. Basically, the way it works is, the owners of the marina, they have like 5 times as many events for their property as their property can handle. And, they're kind enough to reach out to us every year. And we kind of have a little pre-holiday, phone call and kind of get a game plan on available dates. There's some other big events that, as you all know, vie for that place, and they're kind enough to honor our spot. And we are pretty much going to hit the same time frame next year. We already talked to their powers to be there, and they're anxious to have us back next year. So for all of you who are watching, who haven't participated in SummerSlam, I guess you know what you've been missing out on. So
absolutely. It's a really good thing.
Get ready.
I mean, we like it. We had it down there one year in August, and it was really tough. The fishing was really tough. And not that that's a thing for picking a tournament, how good the fishing's going to be. We lost Shawn.
Well, it's a lot. It's weather,
but it's it's nice to be able to catch fish and have everybody catch fish, because one of the things about this, Mike, is in our tournament, and I know you noticed it, was we're trying to bring new people into the sport of tournament fishing, and we're trying to make it fun, and to a point where, as you've seen, there's a lot of husband and wife teams, a lot of boyfriend and girlfriend stuff, brothers, sisters. That's why I keep saying it.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of people to come down there. We had, tin boats, we had, jet boats, we had, pro crafts, 17-foot pro crafts. We had, Rangers, all the way up to $100,000 boats. So it's the whole range of stuff that we do in this tournament. And that's
for everyone.
It's for everyone. And that's what we try to make it. And the reason that we did the buyout was, like I was telling you earlier, everybody's like, I don't want to go down there and donate to this tournament. I don't do well. I got you, Shawn. There he is. We lost him, but he's back. We
Glad
lost
it
it.
didn't cut out during my awesome
Yeah.
performance.
Well, you just
no.
play.
He just signed a record
you have
deal.
to-
He's back now.
Yeah, you'd have to do it again.
Yeah.
But so the SummerSlam by the buyout, the buyout was the key to it, so that we can get these new people in. That guess what? Everybody's a winner. When you leave there, everybody who bought the tackle, that is your prize, because you're not donating cash. You're getting something for that. And that was really important for us.
That was the original concept that that Mike and I, many, many years ago thought about. A buy-in. It's kind of like that concept of, I don't know if I want to try a tournament or whatever the story is. We wanted it for newbies to advanced, and you want competition there for all the levels. And we wanted it to be unique. And actually, this concept that we came up with, we did on our own for a few years, and then the people at Shimano approached us. It's kind of interesting. The first year that we did it underneath Shimano's sponsorship, the very next year, this exact same format is being done in multiple locations in the country. And in fact, there's so many shops in Kentucky that want to do it that they do it as the whole state of Kentucky.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. And me and
Homer.
Me and my boy here kind of come up with this.
We came up with the idea.
Well, you know what, George? Now that you brought that up, how they bought in. Hey, Shawn and Mike, can you guys disclose what did you guys purchase to buy in?
Shawn might, because I don't think he came to the shop. He usually does his online, but Mike won't be able to disclose because there was like 2 shopping carts full, man. It's gonna be like, I mean,
as long as my wife isn't watching, I think I can tell you what I bought.
Right.
That's out of the bag.
But I was looking to purchase 2 Shimano Corrado DC reels, and fortunately they had them in stock. And once or twice a month, I go out to my company's location in York, and so
I think that's why he took the new job.
Right.
and when I do that, every time I'm getting ready to cross over that Susquehanna Bridge, I'm thinking, oh man, I wonder if I'm gonna have time to stop today.
Well, we do see Mike in here, and Shawn's orders we see on a fairly regular basis on the old interwebs.
What'd you get, Shawn?
A little far for me to get.
It is a ride, isn't it?
Really, I try to. If I'm ever passing through the area, I try to make a side trip.
Oh yeah. What'd you get for the buy-in?
I split it with Mike.
Oh yeah. Okay. Cool. Yep. Well, that's great.
This year.
I want to talk about some other stuff here. And I forget where I was going to go because the whole ProCraft thing came up again and just boggled my mind
our first bass boat was a ProCraft.
I know.
Yeah,
we had a 17-foot.
We had a
ProCraft.
17.5-foot ProCraft. We called it the Copper Penny.
Yeah.
And it had a 150 Mariner on it.
Yeah, painted up the same. Gray and orange hull with a gray and orange Mariner. It was like we died and went to heaven, me and George, man. We were Bassmasters.
And if you'd have seen me and Mike as kids running the Conowinga pool in the old man's ProCraft, well, if he would have seen us as kids,
he'd have had
running the Conowinga pool.
He'd have whooped
in
our
his
ass.
ProCraft. I mean, that bad boy. We used to take that sucker up through Conowingo to the dam in manners that no one has ever done to this day. That's funny. We knew every rock by name, man.
So let's go over this a little bit. So, of course, Mike Sentor and Shawn McKee, first place, 24-11. Second place for the tournament, Nick, was from Chester County. Chester County guys. Bob Entler, the famous Bob Entler, and probably one of the greatest lure painters that I know, TJ Shawnee. They had 22.62. So they were right on your tail there, fellas. They were coming after you. They didn't quite get there, but what a hell of a bag, 22.62. And then third place was right over here, Corbin Gottwalt and Ben Cluster, and they were right there too. They had 21.91, almost 20, but all but 22 pounds.
Awesome bag.
And we're going to pick his brain here in just a few minutes.
I mean, you got the champs, bro.
I know. We're going to pick your brain here in
Mike,
just a few minutes.
It's pretty cool. Like, so we talked to Mike and Shawn, and they got started right away.
Yeah.
But second place, when we ran into them
on
live, they were struggling. So their day didn't quite go the same.
We pulled up on Shawn and Mike. We pulled up on Bob Entler and TJ, and they were man, their heads were hanging. They just lost a 3.5 pounder. They weren't getting bit. It was like 8:30ish maybe. And they were like, oh man, they were just really bad. But they rallied. They rallied. They
rallied late.
They rallied late, and then they ended up catching their big bag, which was awesome. So then fourth place was Douglas Reed and Joe Francois. They had 21.62. There's another 21-pound bag.
I think Joe's seen my boat more than I have.
Oh, really?
Thank you, Joe, for your hard work, though. It's not his fault. It's just parts, take a while.
Oh, right. And then fifth place was Trent Cole and Joe Morgan. They had a 5-pounder lunker. Theirs was 21.19, another 21-pound bag.
Wow.
And then sixth place with a big mention from Shawn in his song.
Oh, you got that. All right, good.
Yeah. Was John Venor and these guys are hammers. Dave Wilder and John Venor. And they had a 21.07 bag. So there's
we saw them catch that 6, and we thought it was a 7 because you don't see John and Dave Wilder celebrating and laughing over a 5 or 6 pounder.
Right.
They were like kids, just laughing.
They're mellowing out in their old age.
Right.
They're mellowing out in their old age.
Right. Well, they had a nice bag of 21.07, but I'm wrong. I am wrong, Nick, which I'm never wrong. There is another 21-pound bag, and not another one, but there's two. There was a tie for 7th place, and that was Matt Weber and Rich Leadbeater.
Can we call Rich? Can we call Rich out for not weighing in a lunker and having to split?
Exactly.
On,
That's a rookie maneuver, isn't it, Shawn?
Well,
that's total rookie.
And I told him after the tournament, he came up, he was like, just freaking buckets of sweat pouring out, like just how bad did I screw up? And I said $5.
Yeah, right. It doesn't.
Yeah,
that's so funny. I had to let him off the hook, man, or else he wouldn't have been able to sleep at night.
They had 21.05, and then they were tied with Dan Downer Sr. and Bob Stanley, who had 21.05. So there's 8 bags over 21 pounds.
That's impressive.
That's impressive. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And then we'll go right down through here pretty quickly. They got 9th place was Brian. Yeah, because this is important. So Brian and Amanda Gearin, they were in 9th place with 20.56, but Amanda loaded a 7.28 lunker. Come on.
Yeah.
She was the one that caught that. And me and Nick pulled up on them right after they caught it. And she was so excited. She's like, I got my PB, and then we were watching them, and she's just jacking on these fish. So that's the thing. These women were catching fish like crazy. You guys weren't over there, but they were smashing them.
That was the pattern we found.
Yeah.
The women were catching
them. The women were catching them. And one of our contestants, Joe Thomas, JT.
Joe Thompson.
Or I'm sorry, Joe
Joe
Thompson.
Thomas has a television show.
Joe Thompson, JT. He was so crazy about them because he was must have been fishing around them that he was going nuts. He was like, all I want to do is call the tow company and have them come tow me in so everybody think my boat broke because I can't take any more of these women smashing all these fish.
Now I got a question for all you guys. So the lunker was what?
728.
728. What's everybody else's? Yeah, anybody had that beat on the Upper Bay as a PB?
Oh, yeah.
PB? Oh,
For you guys personally.
George weighed in. George and I fished a tournament down there one time, and we were fishing, and of course I was catching all the fish again, and George.
Freaking brutal, man. Just kill me now.
Well, it didn't go down like that actually. But we're fishing along, and George throws it in this tree, and he starts just reeling his spinnerbait out. Right?
It was a grass bed, but a tree works.
It was off that tree in the back in the.
Well,
yeah, it was off a tree.
It was on the main river.
It was off a tree. He throws in on this tree, and he starts reeling it out. And this fish bites it. And he says, "Get the net. This is a giant." I'm like, "What the hell? You didn't even set the hook yet." And he goes, "Goonk," and he sets the hook on this fish, and I get the net, and it was gargantuan. I net this fish, and I throw it in the live well, and I'm like, "Man, that's like a 6-pounder."
there was no battle.
I'm like,
at all.
dude, that's like a 6-pounder. That's a giant, you know. And then we're like, "Okay, let's go. We need one more fish," and we start fishing. And I look in the live well. I'm like, "Man, George, I think that's like a 9-pounder." And he's like, "What? Get out of here." I said, "No, I'm not kidding you. It's the biggest fish I've ever seen in my life." So we're fishing along, and I open it up again. "Dude, I think you got a 10, man. I think you got a 10. So we go and weigh this fish, and what was it?
8-4.
8-4.
Wow.
And we the sad thing about that, we beat out a guy with a lunker who had an 8-1.
No, man.
He had an 8-1.
No.
What do you have?
7-15.
Oh,
And
7-15.
I actually felt really bad because it was a pretty big boat number tournament. So lunker paid a lot.
Yeah.
And what really made me feel bad was there was no place to tie up. So like
We were waiting. We kept
everybody
waiting.
was done weighing in, and then we come showboating up with this
Yeah,
bag.
it wasn't that way.
Like
It really wasn't.
a couple minutes had gone
We
by.
weren't sandbagging back here, Mike.
And they're yelling for the scales, and we're like, "Oh no!" There's literally was no place to tie up, and dude standing there, he had a 7-15,
Yeah, George beat it with an 8-2.
and I weigh this 8-4 in, and I'm like, man,
Sean, what was your big fish down there?
On the bay, I don't think I have anything over 6 down there.
Okay.
No.
What about you, Mike?
So I've weighed in 3 fish over 7 pounds, but I think 7.2 something is my biggest. I think I've got 2 7.2s.
Oh, so we
Yep.
got you beat on that. Okay, that's
Yep.
fine. That's good. We got you beat there. All right.
Congratulations.
Yeah. All right, man. It was probably 6 years apart, but that's good. We got you. We got you on that. That's cool.
mark that one down, Mike.
Yeah, so that was 9th place, and congratulations to them. She was so excited. It was great to see that. But I got to tell you, we had, I think, 4 or 5 husband and wife teams in this event, and we had a engaged couple that
Hively, yeah.
that were
Andrew Hively,
that were fishing also.
You know,
So
Mike,
that's
hey Mike, I think last year, right? The Zinnies.
absolutely,
Husband and wife
yeah.
team won last
They
year.
won it.
Yeah.
They won it.
Absolutely. The Zinnies last year, they won it. We talked to
Yeah.
them after the tournament this year.
We did. We had a nice conversation.
And they kicked ass last year and weighed a big giant bag and won it. And they were champions for a whole year, as you will be for a whole year, Mike Sentor and Shawn McKee.
And Mike, you know, it's funny. So people don't know this, but we're on the water and we're doing a video
Yeah.
and we're talking them up. The Zinnies.
Yeah.
We're talking them up. We're talking about how they were the champs last year.
Yeah.
Here it wasn't even the right people.
Yeah.
That's funny.
We pull up and we see, of course, a blonde lady and a guy in a boat, and you're going, there they are. That's the champions from last year. And they're like, no, that's not us. That's the friends of ours. And we're like,
That's Minnie. That's Minnie.
Minnie.
There's Zinnie and Minnie.
yeah, Zinnie and Minnie. Right.
After we were like 4 minutes in.
But you couldn't tell, honestly, on the water. You know how that is.
well, I think
Everybody's dressed up. They can't tell.
I think the moral of the story is that over the years of SummerSlam, there's so many of these great stories,
Yeah.
but we're reigning champions for.
Yeah,
this year.
I want to get to 15, the top 15.
Oh, you do?
I want to get to top
Okay.
15 before I let him go. I'm sorry.
Oh,
That's what we paid out. We paid 15 spots.
great. I'm good with that.
Everybody's got to sit through this. So that was them. And then in 10th place was Donnie Tomlin, of course, longtime guy, tournament angler down there, and Mark Weatherby. They had 2051. They had a 647 lunker. Can you believe that? And then 11th place was David Piscopo and Bill Richards. They had 20 pounds. And that was 11th place. 12th place was Jerry Page and Zach Jeffries. That was actually a tie. No, this was a tie for 12th. Was Jerry Page and Zach Jeffries. They had 1997 with a 510 lunker. So they beat out the tie. And 13th place was Bill Skinner and Perry Mace with 1997. 14th was Ryan Bauman and JT Joe Thompson with 1977. They had a good bag, but they were wet tracking, man. They didn't hang out. And then 15th and the last check for the tournament was James Siemens and Chris Price with a 1946. So 1946 got you a check. So that was the leading deal. I
didn't see Chris Price there.
You didn't?
No.
Well, I don't know. Maybe he fished with somebody else.
Well, Chris. If nobody knows who Chris Price is an old school legend on the Upper Chesapeake Bay.
Oh yeah.
And the Eastern Shore.
Oh yeah.
And the Potomac River. And if unless I'm wrong, he's also the captain of the charter boat shooter.
Oh, the one next to.
That's right.
We talked to him last year.
Oh, I wonder why.
Yes, we do.
I wonder why. Maybe it's a different guy. Then.
I don't know. I want to find out if that's right.
We'll find out about that.
Because if it's at Chris Price,
yeah. So
he is a hammer.
Here we are, guys. We're gonna let these guys go. The champions for SummerSlam 2022, Mike Sentor and Shawn McKee. You guys, thank you so much for coming. Sorry we drug this out a little bit on you. Shawn, thank you so much for that special original tune that you wrote for the show. Unbelievable.
Thanks for humoring me.
Dave Wilder, you're referring to Chris Price, correct? Yes?
It's right.
Yeah.
Mike, I think your wife was on this. She just commented. So there's.
She did?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay. So yeah, I mean, the champions, you guys get to be the champions for a whole year. I hope you come back next year and fish
Chris Price.
Fish a number. Oh yeah, it was him. Yeah.
Congratulations,
Awesome.
guys.
Congrats, guys.
Yeah, congratulations
Go
to
win
you
tomorrow.
very
Thanks for
much.
having us on the show.
Yeah, you betcha. Thank you guys. I really appreciate it. You guys are awesome.
You guys fishing the Ike?
Not together.
Okay.
We're fishing against each other. I'll be fishing with my wife on that one.
Okay.
Oh, cool.
Cool.
I'm coming down for that too, Sentor.
Yeah.
I'm coming after you, bro.
All right, guys.
Coming after you. I'm gonna beat that.
Keep up the good work.
8-2.
Great job. Congratulations. Thanks to everyone. And next year, mark your calendars if you want a shot at beating these two guys.
Yep.
Because they're going to have a big bullseye on their backs.
Yep.
Who knows what boat we'll be in?
SummerSlam
that's right.
2023.
You might not know what boat it is. It might be a 16-foot. What was that? Fisher. 16-foot aluminum Fisher with a 450 on the back.
Yeah, we're going to need a recording of that song to play it way until.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you so
guys.
much for stopping by.
Right,
we'll see you.
thanks.
We'll talk to you later next time. Man,
Outstanding.
man, how lucky is that to have those guys stop in and talk to them? The legend status of Mike Sentor and Shawn McKee.
And they made time out of their schedule.
And they did. They
Which we
really
appreciate.
did. We appreciate it.
And the song, man.
And the song. That song was freaking badass.
Yeah, you can pretty much turn the show off now because that song.
That song was badass.
Yeah.
So
That was badass.
yeah, it was unbelievable.
A catchy tune.
But it's cool, that. So that was the stats of that. That was the top 15 who got checks, and with our lunker of a 728, we had a great turnout. We had 108 boats in the tournament, in which we had 81 people weigh in. Now, what happens a lot of times is, they come in and they don't know exactly what they got, so they dump their fish. But we weighed over 1,200 pounds of fish in.
That's crazy.
That's a lot of
My,
fish.
my.
So we weighed 1,200 pounds of fish in, and the night, know what the neat thing was? There was, we didn't have any dead fish penalties at all, 0. So the cool water, all that going on, out of all those fish, we didn't have any.
I saw a snakehead that might have had a dead penalty.
Yeah,
I had one.
Yep. Had a guy bring a snakehead in, and he was auctioning it off to the highest bidder.
Well, Mike, I think we should probably rotate into another segment here.
Yeah, I know.
We went a little long there.
Well, this is the SummerSlam show, so I just want to make sure we covered everything.
Very important.
Hold on, before you guys do move on.
Yeah.
On behalf of everybody that participated and all that stuff, thank you two guys for holding it. And everybody else that helped out. I mean, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Well,
it really
I mean, if you're going to start thanking people, you got to thank Chester County Bassmasters. You got to thank the SFT pro staff.
Well, exactly.
You got to thank the
Patrick,
Shimano Corporation.
Yep.
Because they back us. I mean, once you start going down that path, man, it's easy to let somebody off because there's a lot of people that help us. Our pro staff guys that help us every year can't do it without you guys. Can't do it.
No, we have a great bunch of guys at work that help us out, and we appreciate it very much. But see, you're rushing things here. I wanted to talk to Corbin about his third place finish.
I know. But you also said you wanted to wrap the show up. By 9:00.
Yeah, well, it's only 8:24, and we got a little bit of time. So, anyway, I don't know where we're at. So yes, that's a big thing. Thank you to all of our sponsors. Corbin Gottwalt got third place. It's amazing.
And Cluster.
Effort, yeah. Ben Cluster and Corbin Gottwalt.
Well, it's not first place.
I know.
It's third.
Ricky Bobby says
you're the third loser
if you ain't first or last.
Yeah.
You know that guy that's sitting there with
you were the third loser.
Hey, you know that guy that's sitting there at this weigh-in with the 7:15 and you come walking up with an 8.2?
I felt bad.
Yeah, that's how it was when Mike Sentor came up to the scales. I'm like,
yeah,
he beat me again.
Because you were leading.
Well, it was first flight.
Yeah. Well, you were leading all the way up to that point. You went through a lot of people. And then TJ came in and kicked your butt.
Yeah.
But what was it, Corbin? I mean, 21-pound bag it's basically 22 pounds. That's a huge bag for down there.
That should make you feel all the worse.
Well, I mean, we had the kicker, the snakehead kicker.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, it was a pretty big one. I mean, it was just, we went down there, we said what we were going to do, and we committed to our game plan. We said we were going to fish the flat and fish grass. And we looked at the weather forecast, saw it was a warming trend. Having a jet boat is, some people say it's a disadvantage. I mean, I don't have the speed, but like Mike Sentor said, his boat goes 45, mine goes 43.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't have to worry about hitting anything.
Right.
So cutting across flats.
Yeah. If you want to go over there, you just go straight over there. You don't have to make a loop, make a big loop. Yeah.
And
unless, of course,
waves,
the wind's blowing.
Hey, I did run to the Sass in the Ike tournament in 3-footers that day.
Yeah.
Practice was a challenge. We went down there. We always use this as like a mini vacation. And what's funny is we saw John Venor and we were just, as soon as we launched and he said it was really dirty and just ran around. And I said, well, Cluster, we're just going to fish our way back. We had 2 bites the first day in practice. We're like, okay, this kind of sucks,
Yeah.
But it was really
a lot of guys had that same problem.
And it was east wind.
Yeah.
And, so that was Thursday afternoon. Friday, we kept running around looking for grass, looking at old waypoints, but it was still dirty. I mean, the river Susquehanna was really dirty.
Yeah.
And obviously with fishing the Susquehanna as much as I do, I was watching the river gauge fall clear, talking to other guides that were up way above. And I'm like, okay, if this clears up, it'll go from that muddy water to the green water. Maybe it'll start working its way down.
Yeah.
But, tide was flush and stuff. But really, it came down to trying to find grass. And, I mean, what was interesting is as dirty as it was, you couldn't see the grass because we also had really screwy tides, like really high tide.
Yeah, right. It was. You're exactly right.
And high tide and dirty water, I mean, you're looking for grass, you're doing side imaging, but you still have to fish the grass at some point to see if there's fish in it. So what we did is we just started ripping rattle traps and spinner baits and crankbaits and chatterbaits through the grass, just trying to catch a fish. If we caught fish, we knew there was life, and
Yeah.
on the 360, we just keep looking for grass. That's exactly what we did. And then we slowed down, and after we found some areas that had fish, we settled down and just kind of kept poking around. So and the water cleared up and bait colors changed. And
so catching the bigger fish, were you in crowds of people or not?
yes, I started in crowds of people.
Yeah. So did you catch some bigger fish in those crowds?
One or two.
Okay.
Maybe 3 or 4. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a crazy day, man. When we had 399s on the balance beam and they were like dead level. I mean, it was like a game of and we're like, okay, we got to go somewhere and try to catch a bigger one.
Not 9.9s, 4.9s.
No, 3.99.
Oh,
3.99. That was our
3.99.
smallest because we were trying to call them.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So as we kept going through, we caught some fish away from people. We caught some fish in crowds. And then, I ran out on the flat, this little isolated patch of grass that I had. We caught 2 410s, but we didn't know, I still didn't know the weight we had until we went in and weighed in. But we did catch some in the morning around the boats. And then we eventually kind of just kept, weaving our way through and looking for the clumps and, fishing off the 360 and kind of going from there.
Yeah.
Hey, Corbin, did you have a clean tournament, or was there any fish that could have maybe helped you think? Or
there was one that we lost, but I don't think it would have helped us.
He's just saying that because Cluster's still in he's still mentally destroyed over that fish. So, Ben is I think he's in rehab right now, actually.
No, basically we needed a big bite. Our lunker was a 4.85 and our smallest was like 4.1. So when you're looking at it, you need that 5 or 6 pound bite. We took a gamble. We ran to the flat and tried to get it, and
that was smart because there was nobody out there.
Well, and
me and Nick went by there at like 10:30 or something.
Right.
There was nobody on the flat,
and we called twice out there.
There were a bunch of striper guys, but that was it. Yeah.
And again, we had a spot out there that was a little bit away from everybody else. I saw Setlock and Booker like way in the distance, but other than that, that's what we did.
Yeah.
And we went through Furnace Bay and rolled in there and caught a 3.5 early in practice. We're like, God, this could be easy.
Yeah.
We didn't go back and fish it. Went back, found the grass, flipped in there, had 2 bites. But again, didn't even fish that in the tournament because we just didn't think that was going to be the deal.
Yeah.
And we ended up fishing until 5:30 on Saturday, and got on something late that day. We finally got some fish flipping, and we're like, oh, okay, well, we might be able to do something here, because other than that, we hadn't caught a fish other than on a chatterbait in 3 days.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
When we fished the Northeast, it was dirty, and I'm like, we ain't doing this. 10 minutes in, I'm like, forget this.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what we did. We just ran around and found the good grass and did not fish history, but kept it in our back pocket,
Yeah.
Great job, Corbin.
That was Corbin. That's a great job. I think you had a 3rd place before, didn't you?
4th, something like that.
Yeah, you were high in it in the scores before.
Yeah. And Ben's watching too. Great job to you, Ben.
Yeah, absolutely. Ben Cluster keeps the ship going in the right direction. But hope you can get through your rehab fine on losing that giant award-winning fish. We know it was the one that would put you over the top, but
no, it wasn't.
We're not gonna keep digging at you there.
And Mike, there's one thing I kind of didn't say was we only caught we didn't catch fish over 3.5 in practice.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So we caught bucks on moving baits.
Yeah.
And I'd leave.
I honestly think the night that overnight this whole thing happened.
Yeah.
And the day of this whole thing was happening. I think all these, because there was so many people down there struggling, calling us up, stopping in the shop. Oh man, we're just struggling down there. We caught 3 fish the last 3 times down, and I think that grass just set up and really got going, man. And it just absolutely went crazy, and it was awesome. So
it cleared up a hair. The wind shifted. You could actually see the grass, at least where I was fishing.
Yeah.
And people are like, what'd you catch your fish on? I want to know the bait. And I'm like, dude, I caught them on flipping baits. I caught them on a chatterbait. I caught them on a Senko. Caught them on a jig. It was just
trash fishing,
straight up junk fishing.
Yeah.
8 rods, 10 rods on the deck, and I caught fish on 7 of them.
Yeah.
So,
Well, good job, brother. That
Thanks,
was
man.
great. That was awesome. That was a great finish. 22 pounds, man, in third place. It's like, what the heck, you know?
I know.
So there you have it. SummerSlam 2022 wrap up. What a great time. Thank you guys very much for coming and fishing in that tournament. And guess what? Again, we're going to do it again next year. So you guys got something to look forward to. So what else we got, George, tonight? This is Tackle Shop Live.
Yeah. We got some time here to talk about some tackle.
Yeah.
And we have a new Daiwa Tatula SV70.
Oh, dog.
Yeah. Little tiny baby Daiwa.
You know, that thing in your hand is amazing. It feels great. It's comfortable. It's light. It's got, you know, it's got everything you want, and it's got the Tatula casting system, which is friggin' fantastic.
Yeah, the SV cast system, the SV spool, you know, is very, very, very backlash free, as we've talked, you know, forever. Zero adjust cast control, which is not totally true because you got to kind of adjust it a little bit. But this 70 is what I would call their answer to the BFS craze. And BFS is bait finesse system, basically a real fancy way of saying light tackle, right? You know, first they started getting us with the Nico rig.
Yeah.
Which is a wacky worm with a nail in the head.
Yeah.
We knew that. Now it's BFS.
Yeah.
Which is a fancy way of saying light tackle.
Yeah, finesse fishing.
And what I mean by that is this reel has an aluminum frame, and the handle side plate is also aluminum. So it's very light. It's very rigid. It's very strong. It has the SV spool with the SV casting system, which is very light, very backlash free.
Yeah.
Backlash
friendly.
Less.
Backlash.
You got, in other words, you pretty much got to be an idiot to backlash this thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you backlashed it yet?
Hotty.
So, capacity wise, here's what I think you're going to find interesting. 10-pound fluorocarbon, 50 yards.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Now, I'm looking at the spool.
It's deep enough.
It's probably a little more than that.
I would say so.
Yeah.
10-pound, absolutely.
Yeah, that's California yardage.
Yeah.
6'3", 7-to-1, and 8-to-1 gear ratio. The 6'3's pulling in 23 inches per crank.
Mm-hmm.
The 7'1's pulling in 26 inches per crank. And the 8-to-1 is pulling in 30 inches per crank.
Yeah.
7 ball bearing, 1 roller bearing. Very nice. You can see how it's a very small. You can put it on a light.
We sold one today on the BFS Corrado rod, and
nice.
It was very, very nice combo. Light, super light. You know, it didn't add a lot of weight to the rod, so you know you're able to, you know, to make a whole finesse complementary there with that reel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a new thing from Daiwa. You know, they brought it out 6 months ago, shipped it last week.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, you know, they got to build them.
Hey, George and Mike, real quick question. You know, these new BFS reels that are coming out, are you going to be adding them to your guys' arsenal, or do you see a spot for that in your boat?
I mean, me personally, no. I prefer a spinning rod for that kind of technique, but I mean, I see where it's coming from.
That's exactly what it is. It's taking some of the stuff from the spinning rod stuff, like poppers, you know, light line poppers, you know, 10-pound test with poppers and lures that you just have struggled casting on your regular rods, your stiffer tip, to go into these little lighter BFS style rods, medium lights.
I like some of the smaller reels, but not necessarily with the real shallow spools. The smaller profile reels that are, it's kind of weird because a non BFS reel has a little more spool capacity, but yeah, it's that size. It's great for flipping with heavy line.
Yeah, like a 70 Shimano Corrado or something.
It's great for light tackle stuff, but for just general casting, it's too small.
Yeah.
This reel is designed for
light line
finesse fishing with a bait casting reel, which I think is awesome.
It's great. There's a lot of guys wanting to do it. It's kind of like a trend thing.
There's a lot of people fishing drop shot on bait casting. There's a lot of people fishing like finesse techniques with plastics, like a Ned rig or
the guy just bought the rod today.
Head.
He was gonna Ned rig fish with it and throw small poppers.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that are throwing little small crankbaits and little jerk baits. This whole, like this X Nanahan,
brand new, by the way, +2.
So the X Nanahan type 75 millimeter jerk baits, that's BFS type stuff. Okay. And smaller.
Yeah.
And people who are into that, this reel is right up their alley. You finesse guys that like bait casting, you small bait guys that like bait casting, so on and so forth. It's right up your alley. It's a great, and this thing is sweet. It's got that SV spool. The cast control is amazing.
And they're going quick too, so you don't want to mess around. If you want one, they are just blowing out of here. Everybody's jumping on this thing, so make sure you jump on board right away.
Yeah, and then we kind of talked about that X Nanahan. This is the +2.
Yeah.
So they brought out the X Nanahan 75 Megabass did. Yeah. And then they brought out the +1.
Yep.
Now they got the +2, which dive about 10.5 foot max.
Yeah, maximum.
On your longest cast with light line. These are kind of a specialty. +2s are Japan only. You're going to see them once in a blue moon. Some crazy colors. Look at this bad boy.
That's awesome.
Sparkle Viper.
That's awesome.
Huh?
That's your bubblegum Senko or fluke, George.
So we got a bunch of these here. They are not on the website just because they're going to sell out before we have time to put them on the website.
You call the shop, we'll take care of you on that.
Yeah, we will. Also
from Megabass. Yeah, I was going to say also.
They have a new special color out.
Yep.
This is their latest special color. It's called Hot Shad.
Yep. We got some of those left.
We have them in 110. We have them in 110 Junior.
Yep.
We have them in Pop Max.
Yep. It's got a little blue hue to the chartreuse. You notice that?
Yeah.
It's a pretty cool. It's not like just bright chartreuse. It's got a little.
We also have them in the eye slide.
Yeah.
Very limited numbers in the eye slide. They don't normally do the Respect series colors in the eye slide.
Joshua Torres. I invented the bubblegum fluke, super fluke. I don't use the fluke. I use the super fluke. I invented that. Me and George invented that like 15, 18 years ago. Just kidding. Just kidding. Just kidding. Just kidding. But we caught a hell of a lot of fish on that damn thing. Oh, did you? He says.
That's funny.
Where are you guys fishing this weekend?
Well, I know where I'm fishing. If I can put the whole thing together, the boat together and everything, we're going to the flats. I mean, hell yeah. With the bite the way it is right now, are you crazy? I'm going to get right in all them boats too, like right in the middle of all them son of a guns, and be weaving and wiving through them, catching, yanking lunkers.
That's my style.
That's right, man. Just jacking lunkers.
Weaving and wobbling.
Hell yeah. I got a Friday night or Saturday night trip on. Me and George are going to run up quick right away to Falmouth. We're going to catch some fish at Falmouth. And then Saturday, we're going to the bay.
Yeah. Well, maybe Sunday.
Huh?
Maybe Sunday.
Sunday, Sunday going to the bay. George might not go, but I'm going. So what else we got, George? New tackle.
Yeah, I got some more stuff here if you want to get back on that for a minute. I've got
We broke away, Nick.
I've got
It's
a
a bad
ton
thing.
of well, it's just kind of disjointed. But that's all right.
Oh,
I got a ton of DC reels in this week.
yeah.
Very hard to come by. DCs, Corrados, Stratics. I got a ton of Maxcent in this week. And
Bunch of Maxcent. The little generals.
Tons.
The little generals are
Tons.
back, Nick. They're here. Corbin.
It's good bait.
Everybody wants those damn things. They're here. They are back in stock.
Yeah, and I got a Vanford special. And you could tell your friends about this. If you call into the shop here, we will spool you up with Power Pro Super Slick in the high vis chartreuse color free.
Whoa.
The Vanford purchase.
Free. Wait a second.
Which is good through Saturday night.
Wait a second. So you're going to spool them up with V2 Power Pro
Free.
of their choice?
Well, as long as their choice is what I have in stock.
For free. That's like $18 value, $15, $18 value. That's huge.
Yeah. It's a nice little get.
You didn't run that by me. I can't believe that.
And you can
wasn't-
put that out to your buddies. Let them know.
There you
we're
go.
not really
There you
advertising
go. There's a special for the listeners once again. See, everybody's dropping off here early, but see, they don't stay for tackle talk. They're missing out. Jump on that, fellas.
Yeah. And then the last thing I have is a 998-pound great white shark by the name of Ironbound.
Jeez. What the hell's that all about?
Well, O-Search is out there tagging great whites and tracking them
Yeah.
and trying to
That's
save
the
them.
Coast of Del Mar boat, right?
Well, it's actually owned by Chris Fisher, and one of his sponsors is Costa Del Mar.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's an old Bering Sea crabber, and he travels around the world tagging great whites and studying them. And Ironbound is a 998-pound great white.
Good gosh.
Now, what's interesting is they originally put a tag in this thing in October of 19 in Nova Scotia.
Oh.
And April the 28th, Ironbound was in New Jersey. Checking out.
Don't go in the water.
Checking out the beaches.
Don't go in the water.
He didn't like Jersey. So 2 weeks later, he was in North Carolina.
Good gosh.
And they have been following Ironbound pretty hot and heavy, and he has swam 13,400 miles in the last 571 days.
God almighty.
Wow. So just remember, you can do it.
You can run, but you can't hide from Thunder?
Ironbound.
Ironbound.
Iron Thunder.
I like Iron Thunder.
And that's all I got for you tonight.
All right. Nick, what do you got?
Well, I know there's one more thing that George does got. And because we got a big tournament going on right now, and our guy is doing pretty good.
Yeah.
PDP.
Oh, yeah.
And I know, George, you had to be watching today.
Yeah, I did. I was watching it, but
he was bitching all day because he was busy and he couldn't.
I was so busy I couldn't watch.
He was like bitching.
I watched about 5 minutes of the tournament. I watched about 5 minutes of the weigh-in.
You watched more than that.
Rest of the time, man.
Why is your phone so dead?
I mean, my phone was on. I just wasn't watching.
You are busy. You were fishing the last 2 days. That's why.
Yeah, I went fishing the last 2 days.
Yep. It's all good. All right. So, come on in this week. Buy these Vanfords. You got till Saturday. We'll spool you up.
I'd gladly do it.
If you don't want to come in, or you can't come in, just buy it online and then call us and tell us what line you want on it, and it's free. It's all you.
And if you don't like the internet, call us.
Yeah, we can do it all. We can take it any way you want. So anyway, that's a wrap for the show. SummerSlam 2022 show. We have lots of video out there if you guys want to get on our Facebook page, if you want to get on our Instagram. I don't know if there's any YouTube stuff up yet, but I'm sure there will be. We got and TikTok, there's a lot of TikTok videos that you can watch of the weigh-in of our famous tackle toss, which we gotta thank Rapala and Berkeley for all they do, and Bass Assassin, his name is Robin Shriver. I'm sorry, Robin, I couldn't get it out of my mouth. Robin, he always takes care of us. So that tackle toss was big and huge. Everybody loved that. So thank you to them. So yeah, I mean, that's the deal. Where was I going with that? I'm so jumble brained right now.
Or that people could go and rewatch some of the
you can watch all that on TV. It was really on those social media platforms. Really awesome. So I'm a little scatterbrained because I was working when George was out fishing yesterday and the day before. Special hours, long time, had to stay over, get the stuff done.
Yeah.
look at him.
That's great.
Did you catch him, George?
Of course.
Nice.
They caught him. They took a bunch of Shimano guys out fishing. They had a ball.
Good.
But all right, man. Well, thanks so much, everybody, for stopping by another edition of Tackle Shop Live. And until next time, go catch the big ones, and we'll see you next time.
Sunny day, right there you took my breath away. Young and pretty, was it just a dream? The next day you called me up, you told me I'm your little buttercup. You came over and you fell into my arms. Well, I know what I feel. Please tell me your love is real. You make me smile when I think of you. If I am down or when I am blue, you make me happy, I feel so fine. Oh, how I wish that you were mine. I can't get enough. I woke up all soaked in sweat, with chills running down my neck. I'm going crazy from just the thought of you. A long blonde hair and your beautiful smile. Your sense of humor makes it all worthwhile. Don't make me wait, it's not a funny game. You know just what I feel. Please tell me your love is real. You make me smile when I think of you. If I